Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I will be going over the best builds that I have found for every single submachine gun in the entire game. The way I'll be doing this is I'll just be going in the test range, I'll explain the build, I will show the calibrations briefly. You can actually pause the video and see what they are. If I went through the individual calibrations for every single attachment, the video would be like an hour long. And of course, the builds will be mentioned in the video as well as the description. I will explain how to use the build codes at the end of the video as well. So without further ado, if you enjoy these types of videos and want to see more, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I plan on putting out a video for every single weapon category in the entire game. And of course, be sure to like the video as well. And come by the streams, ladies and gentlemen. I sort of tinker around with these builds on my live streams, as well as I play a ton of tournaments on my live streams as well. So be sure to hit the follow button on my Twitch stream. First link in the description and the pinned comment. Let's get right into the video. Alright guys, the first build we're going to go over is for the MP7. Keep in mind the weapon codes are just going to be in order, so MP7, Vityaz, SO3M, and so on and so forth. I do recommend watching the individual weapons you're interested for just to understand the thought process of the build. So if you do like my build, but you don't like certain aspects of it, you can tweak it to your liking so you understand, like, I suppose, what I built the weapon for, because I had some complaints in the last comment section where people were like, oh, well, I really like this build, but if I change this one thing, it ruined the whole gun. Well, that is why I'm suggesting you watch the explanation a little bit. Okay, so this is the MP7. This is a gun that I made to sort of just do what it does best, which is CQC. I tried to make it work with a long barrel. I couldn't. Here's how it shoots. So this is a gun you want to use when you're just rushing at people. Here are the calibrations, so you can pause the video. And here's a quick run through of the attachments. Obviously, sights are personal preference. People were asking me what pupil distance is. It's essentially sight FOV. You can move it like physically closer or farther away. It really doesn't matter. And obviously, sight zoom is sight zoom, but sights are personal preference in general. The reason why I put the laser on the right rail is when you switch to canted laser aim, I find it being on the right side when he turns the gun. That means the laser's on top, so it's a little more visible. That's like a really niche min-max right there. For the barrel, I went for the MP7 Enhanced Barrel Combo, just for the extra little bit of range, which is 2 meters on the damage ranges, and a little bit of control. Tried both of these barrels, really couldn't get either of them to work. The downsides are just really bad. The MP7 is kind of irritating to build. For the muzzle, I went with the Bastion Horizontal Compensator combined with the foregrip called the RKO foregrip. Reason is, if you go into loadout and then you go into details, you're going to see that this weapon has pretty nasty zigzags, so you want to just mitigate that as much as possible, which is why I picked the Bastion Horizontal Compensator to squish that recoil pattern horizontally. Then I got rid of the vertical shaking with the RKO foregrip, which is why it looks like this when you shoot. Then for the magazine, I run 40 round mag. I tried to make 60 round work. I could not, unfortunately. Then I went for the MP7 stable rear grip and the UR Spec Ops tactical stock. Reason being is people ask me sometimes why I focus stability. First of all, it involves flinch hit multiplier. So when you get shot, your flinch is less. Movement stability when you're actually aiming down sights and moving. See how stable my sight is? Extremely important for pretty much everything in your gunplay. Then, of course, lens stability while firing. Recoil reduction when holding breath as well. So stability is just a fantastic statistic to pay attention to. Moving on to the Vityaz. So the Vityaz is pretty fun. I like this gun quite a bit. So here's how it shoots. This is a pretty fun all-arounder. This is a bit more long range than the MP7 for sure. Here are the calibrations. And I'll just briefly go through the loadout. Taking a look at the recoil pattern here. Again, pretty nasty zigzag, so we're going to have to use some modifications to mitigate that. Again, sights are personal preference. For the barrel, I went for the Vityaz Beaver barrel just to sort of max that range. This is a bit of a longer range SMG, so you can get away with this. I actually put the laser on the wrong rail here. It should be on the right rail, but it doesn't really matter. That's just a weird min-max. Sandstorm Vertical Compensator. Secret Order bevel foregrip to sort of squish that recoil pattern. And then the Sandstorm Vertical Compensator is why it doesn't bounce a lot. As you can see. The mag, obviously the extended mag with your mag mount, your AK skeleton foregrip for the handling, and then your UR Spec Ops tactical stock just to get some of that control and stability back. Moving on to the SR3M. This is a purpose-built super CQC weapon, okay? So, as you can see, this is going to be for when you're up in people's faces. You'll notice that when you jump, the hipfire accuracy is really not impacted at all. Watch. This is why it's so important to focus accuracy on this weapon. You can make very silly things happen with this. So, like I said, this is for running in people's faces, guys. You can try to make it versatile, but it's best to play to the weapon's strengths, in my opinion. So, with that being said, obviously use the only barrel you have here. Excuse me, these are the calibrations first. Now, these are the attachments. Use your only barrel here. For the laser, just use one because you're going to want to be hip firing. For the muzzle, use the Bastion horizontal compensator just to make it a little easier to use while in ADS, because this gun does have a pretty HREC heavy recoil pattern. Then for the foregrip, use your angled combat grip. Gives you VREC control, HREC control, and accuracy, so it increases hip fire. For your magazine, you're going to want your 45 round mag. Your mag assist here. And I like using the balanced grip base for that extra added accuracy, and the AK heavy tower grip to enable the grip mount. If you're wondering where the grip mount comes from, it is from this grip, the AK heavy tower grip. Then for the stock, UR Spec Ops tactical stock. All this combined alongside with these handling patches here gives us a weapon that does this, basically. Just, you know, I demonstrated a little bit already, but it's a pretty fun gun to use. This is actually one of my favorite builds in the entire game. Hopefully you guys like it. SMG 45, probably the most popular SMG in the entire game right now. This is a gun that is basically a do-it-all type of weapon. So that is what I built it for. This is how it shoots. So because it's a do-it-all type of weapon, and because the recoil pattern really isn't that bad, I built this gun to basically be a jack of all trades. It does everything well. It does CQC well. It does range well. It's basically like an AR SMG hybrid. So with that being said, here are the calibrations. And here are the attachments. So obviously, laser. Then for the barrel, I actually went for the SMG 45 Fission long barrel. There is another barrel, yes, the Longbow Ultra long barrel, but I just found that this really is not necessary. This barrel is extremely good with literally no downsides at all. And because you can get away with it, you can actually run the SMG Echo Suppressor for increased muzzle velocity, tons of control, and a little bit of suppression. I have a video coming out soon about what this means. There are different classifications of visibility when firing, like weak and strong, and I'll try to explain what that means. It's sort of confusing, but SMG Echo Suppressor is really good. Then because if you saw the recoil pattern here, it is a little HREC heavy up and to the right. It's nothing too terrible, but I do find that it's useful to have this Secret Order bevel foregrip just to, again, squish that recoil pattern horizontally. The magazine, the 40 round extended mag is essential. The grip, AR heavy tower grip, and then use the stable grip base. I explained earlier why stability is really important, but especially on longer range weapons, stability is great for just keeping that gun stable, obviously. And then UR Spec Ops tactical stock. Then just for your patches here, just stack control. You can optionally stack handling if you would like on these patches. If you don't find the recoil is too much for you to handle, you can just remove these and replace them with handling, and you should be fine. All right, that is the SMG 45. I mean, look, guys, I mean, seriously. SMG 45, if you have not leveled it up, you're doing it wrong. Moving on to the Bizon. The Bizon is really fun. This gun's really fun to use. It's another sort of jack-of-all-trades weapon. Here are the calibrations. Excuse me. Here's how it shoots. Here are the calibrations. And like I mentioned, this is another jack of all trades weapon, so you can do a lot with it. For the handguard, obviously you want to equip this just for the free control and handling. You want to equip your laser, your barrel. You do want to use the ultra long barrel on this build. It is extremely, extremely good. For hipfire builds or anything like that, be sure to use the paratrooper short barrel for that added accuracy. And this is another weapon you can use the SMG echo suppressor on. It is extremely good. For the magazine, definitely go with the 64 round mag there. And of course, this is sort of just similar to the SMG 45 build. You're going to want to use your stable grip base, your AK heavy tower grip, and your UR Spec Ops tactical stock. It is worth noting, guys, you need to use this laser aim function, because if you notice, my ADS here is slower than my ADS here. In the CQC, using this laser aim is incredibly beneficial. You kind of only want to use ADS when you're at about mid-range or when you can afford to aim down sights. But in CQC, this laser aim, first of all, it clears up your whole screen. I mean, look at how clear this is. And the laser is really visible. You can tell where you're aiming, you know, even at that distance, if you really pay attention to it. So in CQC, definitely rebind. Let me just show you here. You need to find, where is it? You need to find this key, switch optic or zoom. I believe it is N by default. You're going to want to put that on a key that you can hit quickly. But moving on to the Uzi. Okay, the Uzi is actually pretty fun. This gun, I tried to make it just emphasize its strong suits. So here's how it shoots. It does have really good hip fire as well. This thing has extremely little recoil. Here are the calibrations. And here are the attachments. Like I mentioned, this thing has extremely little recoil. I mean, the recoil pattern is kind of a joke. It's just sort of a very slight squiggly line, but as you can see, I mean, look at how tiny this recoil pattern is once you get done actually messing around with it. So as usual, laser on the right rail, but you might be wondering why I'm using this red dot sight. So if you notice, when you aim down sights, you see how it's physically higher on the weapon, so it sort of gets around the iron sight. With other red dot sights, let me just equip one here, like this one. With other red dot sights, new ADS, you can, oh, not that one, but excuse me, with other red dot sights, like let's say the panoramic, when you ADS sometimes on weapons, you can see the front sight. So if you're ever having trouble with seeing the front sight, just remember that the Cobra accuracy sight is in the game, and it does allow you to avoid the front sight of a weapon, like on the PTR 32, for instance. The barrel, I went with the Uzi Assault standard barrel. I tried not to make it something it isn't. Like, this gun is really not long range at all. You kind of just want to stay within like your damage range and within your CQC. So I went with this barrel that actually increases accuracy. So sort of a hip fire, low recoil hybrid build. Went with the Sandstorm vertical compensator, the Uzi rail handguard, and the angled combat grip for the added accuracy and VREC and HREC control. Went with the 45 round mag and the stable stock just to restore some stability here. It is a pretty great gun. I have not used it that much. I need to, though. All right, the Vector. Guys, the Vector was super hard to make. I'm not going to lie to you. This gun, I have two builds for you here. This gun is really annoying. Here's how it shoots. It's kind of a brutal weapon. I'm not going to lie. This gun was not fun to make. Gave me a lot of frustration, but this is the best I've gotten it so far in a build that isn't fully dedicated to hipfire. Here are the calibrations. Now, here are the attachments. So, again, just, you know, stack control on these patches, I would recommend heavily on this gun, guys. For the barrel, I used the Vector Longsword Ultra Long Barrel. I tried to use these barrels, but it just, I mean, look, if you use this, you don't get a foregrip. You don't get any patches. If you use this, you don't get any patches. So it just sucks. Definitely use the Vector Longsword Ultra Long Barrel there. Laser, Muzzle, I use the Bastion horizontal compensator because, again, this recoil pattern is pretty zigzaggy, so it's just, you know, it's kind of annoying. Foregrip RKO to reduce that vertical bounce on the weapon. Could not get the 70-round extended CMAG, the nutsack, to work. So went with the 40-rounder. Then I went with the MRGS skeleton stock. And this is as best as I could get it, honestly. Now, the hipfire build, the hipfire Kector, as I'd like to say, is pretty much just trying to max accuracy. It is 92 accuracy, and it does this. So if you hate aiming down sights, and you refuse to, this build will be in the description. But just know, it is the least versatile gun in the entire game, pretty much. So don't expect to be beaming people at range with that. That is a very niche use case scenario. The P90. P90 is a fun weapon in this game. Has a bit of a weird recoil pattern, which is why I also have two builds here for you. I have a HREC muzzle, and I have a Sandstorm muzzle. So I try to make this gun, again, like a sort of jack of all trades. I try to keep the SMG's hipfire pretty good. You don't get many attachments on this weapon. You don't get a grip. You don't get a stock. You do get just like free attachments like the cheek pad and the P90 stock pad. So make sure you're equipping those. Those are just free. Let me just make sure. Correct here. No, it wasn't. Now, for the barrel, definitely use the assault long barrel. It is very, very useful. It really extends this weapon's damage range. And this is a weapon that you can use at little farther distance. I would say it's better at being a jack of all trades than other SMGs. Here's a laser for that. I use control on the little patches. Sandstorm, or like I said, the HREC muzzle. I'll show you both. Then I like the competition hand stop because it gives you great handling, great accuracy, and it only subtracts just a little control. And as you can see, you know, it's not really that big of a deal controlling this weapon. It just has weird zigzags. So here's it with the vertical recoil control muzzle. As you can see, it still has that weird little HREC. That's why I offered this build. But as you can see, without that Sandstorm muzzle, it bounces vertically and is shaking a lot more. But technically, I guess it has easier to control recoil. So, again, I'll have both codes in the description. You guys can decide which one you like better. Then the MP5, the last weapon in this video. Again, if you want to see videos like this for every single category, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to have them out. The MP5 really made me annoyed. This gun was hard to build. Here's what I got it to. So pretty good. I managed to get the drum magazine to work finally on this gun. Other than that, this gun is a pain because you don't get a grip because just like the real life gun, which I've actually held in my hands, like a real transferable MP5N with this 4-position trigger pack. This is accurate. The trigger pack cannot be replaced because it is the physical grip of the fucking weapon. So you don't get a grip, which sacrifices a lot of your customizability. So here are the calibrations. Here are the attachments. So this gun is not a long-range weapon. So I didn't try to make it one. This is a good example of this sight actually raising your sight over the iron sight. If you weren't using this sight, as you can see, just a little bit of that ring in the sight at the bottom. If I switch sights here to something like the panoramic, you can see when you ADS, it's in your sight a lot more. So on weapons with annoying iron sights that don't go away, definitely use the Cobra accuracy sight. It is, it's really good. But other than that, laser, I just slapped handling on just for that little bit of sprint to fire speed on this gun for the patches. For the barrel, I went with the, finally I decided with the MP5 tactical barrel combo. I tried it with the MP5 SD barrel. I tried it with this barrel, and this barrel, and this barrel. Honestly, guys, all these barrels are dog shit. All of these are trash, to be honest. This barrel and this barrel are pretty much the only two barrels you should be using on the MP5. I went with the Bastion horizontal compensator and the resonant ergonomic grip. And of course the drum magazine. And then I went with the UR Spec Ops tactical stock, and you know, it just results in this. As I mentioned at the start of the video, all of the build codes will be in the description. If you don't know what a build code is, you're going to go to like this screen here. You know, you're going to go to modify, then you're going to go to loadout, then you're going to go to import at the bottom right here. Then you're going to see a code in the description. And what you're going to do is it's going to look like this, right? You're going to hit copy on that code, import, go to import loadout, paste it here, hit this magnifying glass, and then you can apply the exact loadout to your weapon if your weapon is high enough level with all the available attachments. And as you can see, these little sliders here in these attachments, the calibrations do transfer, so you don't have to do anything. You can just take the straight code, apply it to your weapon. If it's high enough level, you have everything. Now, I have heard from people, you can take this code and you can type operations in here, and it may work for that as well. Now, keep in mind, these weapons are optimized for warfare mode, the battlefield mode of the game. So results may vary in the operations mode using my build codes that I made for the warfare mode. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and a little bonus MP5 SD build for you after the end of this video. I'll show you the MP5 SD build, and maybe I'll do a little bit of live tweaking here to show you the thought process. I want to make this gun actually work, so let's see what we can make happen here. So for the barrel calibration, I went with muzzle velocity and firing stability because firing stability really helps. It keeps your weapon from shaking a lot. Let me uncalibrate this sight because I was tweaking and I was using 1.5 instead of 1.25 like a normal person. As you can see, because you lose a muzzle attachment because it's integrally suppressed, you get a lot of shaking. That's just the fact of the matter. You just get a lot of shaking. It's your choice to go with either you want to reduce the vertical shaking or the horizontal shaking, right? I'll show you the horizontal shaking grip on this gun, but keep in mind you're going to increase your vertical recoil when you attach this. I go with stability when moving and extra control. I mean, I don't know. I think both are pretty bad. Like, it's just not a fun weapon to try to build in the SD version, unfortunately. I think I prefer this, the resonant grip. Even though it does increase horizontal recoil, I feel like you're in CQC enough to where it shouldn't really matter that much. Then for the stock, I mean, I'll take a look at things here. So the control's pretty bad. I mean, the control's actually pretty good. The handling's okay. The stability is, again, pretty bad. But the thing is, you can't really change from this stock to anything else, because if you do, your handling just gets butchered, and it's just tragic. So I guess I'll leave this MP5 SD build in the description as well. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for future videos going over more weapon categories, and of course, come by the streams, ladies and gentlemen. So many of you have been saying, oh my god, thank you for the weapon builds. I think that's really cool, so glad to see you guys enjoying things, and I will see you guys in the next video, and hopefully the next stream. Bye-bye now.